Welcome to the ShadowBear Story Sessions, the podcast about brutally dark and insanely hilarious folktales and fairy tales. We are going through the dark original versions of Grimm's fairy tales, and today's tale is titled The Devil's Sooty Brother. This better be a comedy, because I'm really picturing like the mean devil and then his hapless sort of goofy mess up of a brother. We begin. A discharged soldier. That's difficult to say. Discharged soldier had nothing to live on and no longer knew what to do with his life. So he went out into the forest, and after walking for a while, he met a little man who was actually the devil himself. Here we go, okay? That is what I love about these old stories. They get right to it. Hey, there's a soldier. He got discharged. He doesn't know what to do. He meets the devil. Off with a bang. "What's the matter?" the little man said to him. "You look so gloomy." "I'm hungry and have no money," said the soldier. Yeah, it's a pretty good answer to a "what's the matter" question. If someone's like, "Hey, you look upset. What's your problem?" "I'm hungry and have no money" is a solid answer. Fair enough. We continue. "If you hire yourself out to me and will be my servant," the devil said, "you'll have enough for the rest of your life. But you've got to serve me 7 years, and after that, you'll be free. There's just one other thing I've got to tell you. You're not allowed to wash yourself, comb your hair, trim your beard, cut your nails or hair, or wipe your eyes." This is an interesting proposition here. Would you take this offer? He's the devil, so presumably there's more treachery and deceit underneath here. Even if he does take it up, he might not actually honor it and give him as much money as he needs for the rest of his life. But we're just on its own. This is a thought experiment. If you had to live for 7 years without doing any of this stuff, washing yourself, combing your hair, trimming your beard, cutting your nails or your hair, or wiping your eyes. Honestly, wiping your eyes, I feel like, is the hardest one, especially if you can't wash yourself. Because then, if you get dirt in your eye, how do you get it out? Ever? Can you ask other people to help you? Can you sort of, get out on technicalities for some of this stuff? If it's raining and you just I'm going to go outside and stand naked in the rain, unrelated to washing, I'm just going to go do that right now. Can you do stuff like that? How litigious are we going to be here with this devil? But yeah, can't even comb your hair, trim your beard, those would be tough. The nails too, those long nails. You need to find a way to get around that. You can't cut your nails. Can you just rub them on a rock to file them? Can you file your nails? That's not cutting your nails. You'd really be relying on a lot of technicalities for this not to be a living nightmare. But even if it was kind of a living nightmare, if you stick it out for 7 years, you're good for the rest of your life. It's tempting. I might kind of take this up. I could talk about just this proposition for a long time, and yet we must go on. So we continue. "If that's the way it must be, let's get on with it," the soldier said, and he went away with the little man. All right, soldier is on board. He's like, "I am hungry, and I don't know what to do. Fine, let's go with this." Went away with a little man who led him straight to hell. That's probably when he realized, a lot's making sense now about this guy and his proposition. Straight to hell, and told him what his chores were. Oh, right. He has to do stuff. Yet he can't, it's not just living under these conditions. It's also being someone's basically slave, it sounds like. So this is what his chores were. He was to tend the fires under the kettles in which the damned souls were sitting. Probably a lot of those, too. It's going to take a while. Sweep the house clean and carry the dirt out the door. It's just a house. That's not... How dirty can it get that fast? That one's pretty reasonable. That one's a lot more manageable than all the fires of the kettles of the damned souls. and keep everything in order. Okay, so that's it. It's just the fire. All right. That's actually not that much. Like, okay, granted, there's probably literally like millions of these kettles. So yeah, that's gonna be your primary. Basically, all day you're just gonna be tending fires. Is probably where we're at here. But other than that, just sweep the house. Reasonable, very reasonable. It doesn't have to make any food. I mean, the devil's like a timeless entity, so they probably don't really need to eat, right? Yeah, no other stuff. Doesn't have to make beds, do linens, none of that stuff. Just tend the fires and sweep. Boom, done. However, he was never to peek into the kettles or things would go badly for him. I wouldn't want to look in those kettles. Is kettles where souls are burning? Pass. Hard pass. You're already living literally in hell. You don't want to like make it worse for yourself by watching melting souls in a kettle. Yeah, I'm good. I don't want to see that. No, I'm just gonna whistle about my work and tend to these fires, poke them with a poker. That's what fire tending is, right? Yeah, settle it. Boom, sorted. I understand, said the soldier. I'll take good care of everything. So the old devil set out again on his travels. His travels? What are you doing? He's on vacation. And the soldier began carrying out his duties. He put fuel on the fires, swept the floor, and took the dirt outside. What dirt is getting inside? It's just like the devil is out on his travels. It's just like his house, right? The soldier, is he the only one living there? How much dirt is really there? I don't know. I don't know who else is living in this house. Maybe this is like a dormitory for all the other demons who live there. I don't know. When the old devil returned, he was satisfied and went off again. So you're not even having to really deal with the devil a lot here. If the devil were around, this would probably be a lot worse, right? Because the devil's doing tricks and stuff and messing with you and trying to trip you up in other ways. But the devil's just like out all the time. So it's like, all right, I'm cool. I was living alone, poking these fires. Again, my fire knowledge is not great. But yeah, don't have to deal with the devil. Not a lot of FaceTime with the boss. That's nice. Now, for the first time, the soldier took a good look around hell. Just like the way they phrase that. There were kettles all about. Yeah, that's pretty much the only thing we know about hell thus far. Lots of kettles. And they were boiling and bubbling with tremendous fires under each one of them. He would have given his life to know what was in them if the devil had not strictly forbidden it. Didn't he say what was in them? It was the souls, right? He was to tend the fires under the kettles in which the damned souls were sitting. It's just souls sitting. Who cares? It's like, does it just look like a person sitting? I don't know what a soul looks like, but it's just sitting in there. You'd be curious what a soul would look like, but when that is the one condition, again, there's all these stories about like, don't do this one thing. Personally, I would not have much trouble not doing the one thing, because the reward on the other side of not doing the one thing is usually pretty great. And in this instance, it's being totally set for life. After 7 years. Don't look in the kettle, bro. It's just a soul sitting there. Ugh. And we know he's going to, though. We know he's going to. Come on. All right. We continue. Finally, however, he could no longer restrain himself. Yep, there you go. He lifted the lid of the first kettle a little and looked inside, only to see his old sergeant sitting there. Coincidence. Aha, you crumb, he said. Now he's heckling. Now he's talking smack to his old sergeant. Fancy meeting you here. You used to step on me, but now I've got you under my foot. No, you don't. You're not in control here. You're the fire guy. You poke a fire. In my understanding of fire tending. Yeah, you're not in charge, buddy. Chill out on this. Man, called him a crumb. All right. He let the lid drop quickly, stirred the fire, and added fresh wood. After that, he moved to the second kettle. So he's not even doing anything. Was it worth it? After that, I'd be kind of scared. Like, that for sure wasn't worth it. Unless this guy has such an inferiority complex that finally he has an opportunity to like talk smack to someone, or just the chance to like smack talk someone is enough for him to risk all of this being for nothing. If you do all this stuff and don't wash yourself for 7 years and you don't get the reward because you looked inside, you're an idiot, man. And that's what you're risking here. Like, he's done it now. He's opened it. If I was him, I would just leave. Like, I would never, he knows, the devil knows. Like, he's gonna know, obviously. So at that point, the devil could just not even tell him that he knows, but still let him do the 7 years of work, and then just be like, yeah, you looked in, so nah. And boom, screwed. No riches or anything for you, and you're just where you started, except now you've spent 7 years not cleaning yourself and being gross and having to live in this nightmare forever. Yeah, you're messing yourself up here, buddy. And he's gonna do it again. Yep. Okay. Second kettle lifted the lid a little, peeked inside, sat his lieutenant. Aha, you crumb, he said. Fancy meeting you here. So he said the same thing. Used to step on me, but now I've got you under my foot. He said the exact same thing. So he's boring. I get why they weren't cool to this guy. He sounds like an idiot. And no wonder he got discharged from the army. He can't even handle, pretty bad soldier. He can't even handle this very basic responsibility of what the devil's giving him. Being in the military, probably a lot more complicated, and you have restrictions that you can't overstep. And he's overstepping the single restriction that exists in this world. So no wonder this guy sucked as a soldier and is broke after being a soldier, being a bad one. Said the same thing. It's not even imaginative. All right. He shut the lid again and added a log to the fire to make it really good and hot for him. I mean, it's a kettle. It's gonna suck in there the whole time. Doesn't matter if it's a little bit hotter or not. Now he's being a dick too. Like, he's not a good guy. He's like, oh, I'm just gonna make you guys burn. They're already in hell. Like, yikes, right? Like, come on, buddy. Go easy on him, man. Now he wanted to see who was sitting in the third kettle, and it turned out to be his general. Aha, you crumb. Fancy meeting you here. You used to step on me, but now I've got you under my foot. Were they all mean to him? Like, it's their job to tell him what to do and stuff. They are above him in rank. Were they all just, like, mean people as well? Because, like, they got to tell you what to do, buddy. You're a soldier. That's your job for them. That's how it works. That's how any job works. The person higher up tells you what to do. So I don't know why you're bitter about this. Because it just seems weird that all of them were, like, really mean to him. The general, he probably didn't even really interact with the general at all, right? It's rare that happens. There's, like, direct interaction between a soldier and a general. Generals usually give orders and it sort of works its way down the line, right? So I feel like odds are very low that they would have a personal relationship between a soldier and general, enough for him to now have a grudge and spite him in the afterlife. Jesus, I would be, like, happy to see someone I knew. Like, otherwise you're living 7 years alone and, like, not talking to anyone. So if you open that thing and see someone you know who's going to be nice to you because they're trapped in hell and you're the only person there, so of course they're going to be nice to you, wouldn't you want to be nice to them too? So you, like, have a buddy to talk to? Why would you be mean? This guy's just a dick. Screw this guy. I don't like him. He took out a bellows and pumped it until the fire of hell was blazing hot under him. And so it was that he served out his 7 years in hell. All right, I guess he just looked in those three and was like, I know all of them. I'm going to make it bad for them. What about the presumably millions of other ones? We continue. He never washed, combed his hair, trimmed his beard, cut his nails, or wiped his eyes. Man, and he's tending to fires, so there's probably like little ash and stuff like going up in his eyes all the time. Maybe he can wear goggles. Just figure out a way to wear goggles. That's a good workaround. The 7 years passed so quickly that he was convinced that only 6 months had gone by. Cool. Great. So I guess this guy's just gross enough that he was not at all bothered or fazed by like being a disgusting mess of a person. It was totally fine living day to day like that. It sounds like he had a great time, had fun time in hell for 7 years. When his time was completely up, the devil came and said, "Well, Hans, what have you been doing all this time?" The devil's never there. He wasn't there at all. He showed up at the very end. It's a pretty cushy gig, really, it sounds like. It's like it flew by. I've tended the fires into the kettles, and I've swept and carried the dirt out the door. But you also peeked into the kettles. Boom! See? I told you, Hans. Everyone in these old stories is named Hans. I told you, Hans. He was going to know, and all of it would be for nothing. You fool, Hans. Damn you. But you also peeked into the kettles. Well, you're just lucky that you added more wood to the fire. Otherwise, you would have forfeited your life. Now your time is up. Do you want to go back home? So is it, like, cool? Otherwise, you would have forfeited your life. I mean, he was just still doing the same job. So he did all the stuff. All right, let's see what happens. I don't know where this is going. Do you want to go back home? He's like asking. Yes, said the soldier. I'd like to see how my father's doing. All right, if you want to get your proper reward, you must go and fill your knapsack with the dirt you've swept up and take it home with you. And you must also go unwashed and uncombed, with long hair on your head and long beard, with uncut nails, and with bleary eyes. And if anyone asks you where you come from, you've got to say, from hell. And if anyone asks you who you are, you're to say, I'm the devil's sooty brother, who's my king as well. The soldier said nothing. Indeed, he carried out the devil's instructions, but he was not at all satisfied with the reward. Why does he have to do this now? It was never part of the deal. First of all, is this a consequence of him having looked inside? The fact that he has to do this? Because that's not clear. It seems to indicate, the way it's structured, he's like, you're lucky that you added more wood to the fire, otherwise you would have forfeited your life. So it seems like it's just like, but it's cool because you did your job. Now your time is up. Do you want to go back home? And so he's doing all this stuff. It's like, why? What's going to happen if I go up there and just like wash myself and don't carry all this stuff? Like once he's out of hell, drop the soil or whatever and just take a shower and get on with your life, right? You're on the human plane. So like, sure, the devil could come up and like mess with you, I guess, but I don't know, devil seems kind of cool. Like the devil like isn't really that mean in this story. He like offered him a pretty reasonable deal at the end of the day. And even though he didn't fulfill it, like he disregarded and disobeyed the one rule, the devil like was cool about it. And like he could have just been like, and now your soul is mine forever because you didn't follow the rule, which is kind of what I expected to happen. But no, he's like, all right, cool, you can go see your dad. You got to do all this other stuff. But he might have done that stuff anyway, even if he hadn't looked inside. That's not made clear here. So, I mean, I have to assume, otherwise it's insane. But it's just not clear, I guess. Not clear. But regardless, just get up there, drop that soil, man. Take a shower, cut your hair, do what you want to do. You're back on the world. You're back in the world. Did he give him a bunch of money at least? Because that was like the deal. I don't know. Yeah. Just said, if you want to get your proper reward, you must go and fill your naps. All right. That's on me, guys. Said, if you want to get your proper reward. That's on me. I missed that very thing at the beginning of that phrase. But yeah, honestly though, devil seems pretty cool. There's not a time like a time period given to when the reward will be given. Maybe that's why I missed that, because it's like, okay, if you do this, how long does he have to do this stuff? Tell everyone he's from hell and all that. Or is it just like, I'll give you the proper reward, meaning all the money and everything right now, but all goes away if you don't do this? We're gonna have to assume that that's what it is. Man, I missed that detail. I feel bad. And we went on that huge rant. Let's continue. As soon as he returned to the world and was out in the forest again, he took the knapsack and wanted to shake it out. But when he opened it, he discovered that the dirt had turned into pure gold. All right, cool, great. Again, when he saw that, he was delighted and went into the city. An innkeeper was standing in front of his inn, and as Hans approached, and when he caught sight of Hans, the innkeeper was terrified because the soldier looked so dreadful, even more frightening than a scarecrow. He called out to him and asked, "Where are you coming from?" I would ask, "Who are you?" first, right? Yeah. "Where are you coming from?" "From hell." "Who are you?" There you go. "The devil's sooty brother, who's my king as well." The innkeeper did not want to let him inside. Fair, bro. But when Hans showed him the gold, he went and unlatched the door himself. Honestly, like, kind of fair and cool. Like, if you have a big sack full of money, people are going to try and steal that. But if you look crazy, no one is going to mess with you. If you're covered in soot and like long hair and nails and look like a straight up witch from hell, and you tell everyone that you're from hell and you're the devil's brother, be like, "Hey, he's got a lot of gold, but do not mess with that dude." Like, I don't know what's going on with him, but I'm just going to keep clear and move on with my life. So we continue. Then Hans ordered the best room and insisted on the finest service. Okay, be careful though, because this pile of money that you got in this bag is like everything for the rest of your life. It's supposed to be. So maybe make it last, buddy. He ate and drank his fill, but did not wash or comb his hair as the devil had instructed. Finally, he lay down to sleep, but the innkeeper could not get the knapsack of gold out of his mind. "Don't do it, man. Don't do it. You see how crazy this guy looks? What you thinking?" Just the thought of it left him no peace, so he crept into the room during the night and stole it. All right. That's what I'm saying. He should have been more sneaky about a big bag full of gold. Just take out a little bit. Don't show him the whole thing. That's what you got to do. When Hans got up the next morning and went to pay the innkeeper, before leaving, his knapsack was gone. However, he wasted no words and thought, "It's not your fault that this happened." And he turned around and went straight back to hell, where he complained about his misfortune to the devil and asked for help. I mean, it's kind of your fault that it happened. It's a little bit your fault. And then you got robbed by the innkeeper. Like, even if you lock the door, the innkeeper's got a key. So kind of, yeah, you have a reason here. But, I mean, is the devil going to have sympathy? I don't know, because this devil's pretty cool, so he might. "Sit down," said the devil. "I'm going to wash and comb your hair, trim your beard, cut your hair and nails, and wash out your eyes." Well, that's nice. Thanks, devil. Thanks, super chill devil. Hopefully this isn't a setup for something more terrible, but cool, bro. I'm glad you're really nice about this. And he's not even going to do it for him? When he finished with the soldier, he gave him a knapsack full of dirt again and said, "Go there and tell the innkeeper to give you back your gold. Otherwise, I'll come and fetch him, and he'll have to tend the fires in your place." He's not tending the fires anymore, though. I guess you just relay that word. The threat still stands, even if it's not true that he's the one tending the fires presently. Hans went back up and said to the innkeeper, "You stole my money, and if you don't give it back, you'll go to hell in my place, and you'll look just as awful as I did." I feel like that's not the main threat, right? Looking bad, looking crazy isn't the main threat. Isn't like the outcome that I'd be scared of from going to hell. It's all the stuff in hell that I'd be concerned about. You can take a shower, like I can clean myself. I know how to do all that. It's more of the whole like being in hell and all the fire and stuff that I would be worried about. But I guess it's like, you're going to look bad too. So give me my gold. All right. Yeah. The innkeeper gave him back the money and even more besides. All right. There you go. Then he begged him to be quiet about what had happened. Now Hans was a rich man and set out on his way home to his father. So the devil gave him a knapsack full of dirt again and said, go there. And I'm like, if you don't give it back. Wait. So he just gave him another bag of money? Or now there's actually dirt? Did the dirt turn to gold again when he got out of hell like it did last time? Because basically all that just happened was the Hans showed up and was like, hey, you stole my money, give it back, you're gonna go to hell and look terrible. And that was all it took. And then he gave the money back. So why did he give him this new bag full of dirt? And is it still dirt, or is it also gold? And Hans now has 2 bags full of gold. He just doubled his reward as a result of his negligence, really, of his having the money got stolen. All right, let's see how this ends. There's not a lot left. I'm very curious about it. He bought himself a pair of rough linen overalls and wandered here and there playing music, for he had learned that from the devil in hell. He was getting music lessons too? Like, the devil sounds really cool, guys. This is like the coolest devil of any story I've ever heard. Thanks, bro. He taught him how to play music? That's awesome. All right, we continue. Once he taught him skills. Once he happened to play before an old king in a certain country. Thanks for keep that vague, I guess. And the king was so pleased that he promised Hans his oldest daughter in marriage. However, when she heard that she was supposed to wed a commoner in white overalls, she said, before I do something like this, I'll drown myself in the deepest lake. So the king gave Hans his youngest daughter, who was willing to marry him out of love for her father. Cool. So the devil's sooty brother got the king's daughter, and when the old king died, he got the whole kingdom as well. The end. What? That worked out great. That worked out fantastically for no reason. He didn't follow the devil's one rule. Then, the devil... This is hilarious. So he didn't follow the devil's one rule. Then, he got his money stolen. The devil's like, okay, you didn't follow the rule, so you gotta look terrible when you go up there. You're gonna get a lot of money. I'm gonna give you a lot of money, but you're still gonna look bad. Okay? Which is generous. Which to me is generous when you didn't follow the one rule, right? He's the devil. This is the literal devil. He could do whatever he wants at this point. If the devil were acting with the temperament of the devil that we all know, or just like any representation of the devil whatsoever, he's just going to be like, you didn't follow the rules, so now I own your soul. That's always the consequence when you defy the devil. But this devil is like, it's all right. I'll still give you the money. You just got to look awful for a little while. Or you just got to look awful. We don't know how long that was supposed to last. Because what happened next was that he got his money stolen by not being secure or safe with it. And so he goes back to the devil and is like, they stole my money. And the devil's like, all right, buddy, I'm sorry. You had such a rough time up there. Well, people aren't as nice up there as they are here in hell, aren't they? We just had a great time and played music and you tended to your kettle and you loved tending to your kettle so much. The time flew by, didn't it? You told me it flew by. Well, yeah, people up on Earth, they're not as nice, are they? Come on, buddy. I'm gonna clean you up. I'm gonna wash you, give you a whole makeover. You're gonna look great. And then you go back up to that mean man up there and you tell him that if he doesn't give you your money back, then I'm going to see to him, and he's going to have to be here and look just as terrible as you did. Okay? How does that sound? And Hans is like, okay, that sounds good. And Devil's like, yeah, here, take another bag of money, buddy. Here, take another bag of money. Now you have 2 bags of money. Isn't that nice? And I was like, okay. So Hans goes back up, says the thing, goes to the innkeeper, like, hey, I know I have another bag of money now, but give me my first bag. Otherwise, you're going to go to hell. It's actually pretty cool down there, but you're also going to look really bad. And the innkeeper's like, okay, I'll give you your gold back. And so then he's got 2 bags of gold. Great. Then he just lives a dope life as a wandering musician. No longer has to look like have soot all over him and look crazy. Even though, again, he broke the one rule. So he's just wandering around, living this dope life. And he plays for a king because of the music lessons that the devil gave him. And then the king is like, marry my daughter. And the daughter is like, no, he's gross. And the king's like, ooh, okay, ignore her. Marry this daughter. And that daughter's like, okay, cool. I love you, Dad. I'll marry him. Hopefully she loves him too. And then he became king. This is the weirdest story ever. This story is like, the message of this story is like, yeah, make a deal with the devil. He's going to be cool about it. And then it's going to work out, even if you defy his orders and don't take care of the prize that he does give you. He's going to give you more, and he's going to make sure it all works out for you. Go ahead, make a deal with the devil, and the devil will make sure to take care of you and make sure it all works out. Even if you mess up, just ask the devil. He'll understand. He's going to be cool about it. You're going to be king, man. Just go make a deal with the devil. That's the lesson of this story. This is wild. I love this story so much. Honestly, no notes. No notes. I love this story so much. Oh my God. I don't know why this might be my favorite story. It makes no sense in terms of the devil or any of it. It's just, this is the perfect example of the Grimm's fairy tales. It's like, stuff happens. Stuff just happens. We don't know. We don't know why. Maybe that's also the lesson here. Like, some people who make deals with the devil, it just works out for them. They're bad people. This dude, not a good guy. He saw people that he knew in hell and was like, ha, suck it. And just made stuff worse for them. And he's the hero whose stuff all works out for. He was mean to everyone, and he broke the rules, the one rule the devil gave him, and everything worked out for him. He's not a good guy. Like, I love this story so much, man. All right, that's going to do it. We're going to end on a high note. No adaptation, no notes. This is fantastic. I love this story. Whew. All right. That's it. I'll do it for this week's episode. Rate, review, like, subscribe, all the stuff. Comment if you would take up this offer, this deal of the dealing with all being all gross. I mean, who wouldn't at this point? It worked out great. Of course you would. Comment what deal you would take for the devil, assuming the devil was not as cool. Yeah, that's a much more interesting thing, because this is just like, yeah, make whatever deal you want. The devil's gonna be cool about it. All right, that'll do it. And yeah, come on back next time. I will see you there. Devil's cool as hell. He lives in hell and he cool as hell.